Okay, welcome to Air Sports News. Lexie, Janson, my on high. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing really great. Really hot right here.
Where are you right now?
I'm in Germany.
So we
Kind of.
just met in
Yeah.
Amsterdam at the Drone Racing World Series.
Is
Your
it the first
drone,
time?
yeah, it was it 2, 3 years ago?
Yeah, maybe.
So you're a drone racer, you're a programmer, you're a YouTube content creator, you keep yourself very, very busy. What's been happening during the pandemic? Tell me how it was for you.
Oh gosh, yeah. When pandemic hit, actually, the first thing that happened was every single event was cancelled. So my planner for 2020 all of a sudden was like, well, let's just get a really big black marker and just blah all
Yeah.
of it, because everything was cancelled. All the content creation, all the photo shoots, public speaking, and all the events, all the races, just everything's done. And we're just sitting there like, okay, what now? What am I supposed to do with my life? So we started training, we started doing live streams because there was just no content to create. So we started just talking with our community. We were training, we started series of how to actually train for drone racing. And actually we did a lot of really cool things, I think. So we kind of adjusted to the situation. But to be honest, now the events are popping up back. So we're kind of trying to get there. We have the first international event next week, I think, in Italy, then in Netherlands. But I don't think we will go really far, which is really sad because I think no China this year.
Yeah, it's not looking like we'll be back in China this year. So you're drone free. I know it's sad. How did you start drone racing? How did you get into the actual competitive side of it?
It was back in 2014, long time ago. And one of my friends just showed me the FPV, the drones with goggles. And I was really hooked into this. And one day someone came and they were like, there is a drone race. You can go through gates and stuff. And then it's like competitive. A lot of people who fly drones go there. And I'm like, ooh, that sounds cool. And I remember on this race, I was one in front of the last person. And I was like, I'm great. So I got hooked because mostly for the community and people who were just on the races per se. But later it started to be more competitive because, you know, when you go to a lot of races, all of a sudden you're like, I need to be the best.
Yeah. The community is amazing, isn't it? It's a
Yeah.
fantastic environment. Everybody's helping each other. The technology is always improving. It's all very hands-on. You're building your own equipment. You've always got a soldering iron in your hand when I see.
Yeah. It's always happening, and repairing between hits is also like super quick. Ah! So soldering on your knee is just a must.
So you tell me about the content you've been creating to encourage more people and to tell them how to start flying and competing. How did that start?
Well, actually, I just decided for myself somewhere in December that I want to be more serious about training and about racing because I got too much into content creation and I was not training at all. I was going to an event just to make a video and I kind of sucked, to be honest. But it was all about the content. And in December, I was like, okay, so New Year resolutions, I'm gonna train insane with people that I know, the best pilots in Germany. And I actually had Yannick and Dennis and Heiko here. And I thought, okay, I'm going to just come and visit because they proposed it to me somewhere in Turkey. And we started training. I actually moved 1 month later to the Frankfurt area because 6-hour drive just for training is kind of too much.
Wow.
Yeah. And we started training every single day. And I started a video series, Train Insane, on my channel. And I started to show people that a lot of training was actually given some results. I started showing like the first battery that I was flying, then the best kind of a timing. And I was just giving kind of tips and tricks on how to actually train, what is our schedule. I also made a separate video on what is important to learn how to drone race. It's like a separate video, it's like 5 tips or something like this. And I'm just keeping at it. So for now, we're at the moment when I actually decided that I think I'm not making as much progress, but on the race next day that I went to, I actually got to 5th place in finals. So I was pretty like, okay, so I'm making progress still. It's going good. But it's just about a lot of psychology. It's a lot about training per se, how to do it, and what's going on in your mind when you are training. Because usually when you are training and you are getting better at something, it's not linear. It's not like you're better, but sometimes you just slow down. Sometimes you hit a plateau and you just stay at one point, and it's all about it. So I'm just trying to make people still like inspired to do it, not just to give up.
When you're training, when you're advising people about training and learning the skills, are you training one specific skill set over and over, like repetitive, or would you just train a circuit? What's the style?
Usually we are trying to create a lot of tracks because we have a permanent track. We are renting a field from a farmer, so we're at the better position kind of. And when we have a permanent track, we can just fly this track and then check our videos and just see what was the most problematic like piece of the track for us, and then create just like a piece, like for example when you have the spiral where you go like 3 times up or 3 times down. Heiko actually built me 2 towers on which for 4 hours straight I was just going up and down and up and down. So it's important to go through the track, but it's also important to work with the places and obstacles that are problematic for you. So it's also like the thing that you need to see what's the problem, and also the fact that faster doesn't mean faster because you're overshooting things and so on, and just try to be tighter in general, and also to fly with other people just to see if you are improving or not. And also timing system is really important, but if you don't have any, you can of course just check your videos and see which lap was the best.
What about with your equipment? I was watching one of your videos. You've just recently changed your radio.
Oh yeah, oh my god. Don't do it. 2 weeks before the race, I changed the radio and I couldn't make the throttle as stiff as on my last one.
Yeah.
I was so afraid because the first day I edited video from the first day and I was thinking, oh my god, this is so bad. And I actually sold my last radio just not to come back to it, you know? And I was like, oh my god, I will just be so bad on this race. And 6 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week we were training, and at the end of the day it was much better. And actually this throttle is helping me a lot with being really tight on turns, so that's a plus. I actually got a little bit better with that. But it was stressful.
You can adjust the resistance on it on the throttle, can you?
Yeah, we did, but it's on max, and I think just this radio is not capable of more.
So what's the scene like where you are in Germany? I'm interested in the progression from small little races up to these big international situations we have now with the different leagues. How does it progress?
Well, we get more and more people. Usually on races, on the first race that we had in the 6 months, because of the whole virus situation, I checked the list of the pilots and I was thinking like, I don't know half of those people. So it's kind of progressing a little bit farther, and we actually have the Deutsche Meisterschaft for the master and the junior master, and I think female master as well. So it's getting kind of out there, and a lot of people are joining, which is really cool. And also our Deutsche Meisterschaft is making a pro class for real pros and for standard class, so people who are not really associated with it don't get discouraged because they are on the last places, which I think is really cool. And there's more and more races actually, and you do see a lot of the same faces, of course, but there's a lot of new people as well.
So if somebody starts flying and they want to start competing, what's the normal route in? How do they find out where the races are at?
You need to join the Facebook groups. Most of the big Facebook groups, if you just write, hey, are there any events in Canada, or are there any events in, I don't know, Germany, whatever, then a lot of people will actually tell you about a lot of events. I also made a video about how to find drone racing events. So there's also tips with websites and everything, because that's a lot of things and a lot of links. But yeah, mostly it's just asking other people and just joining the community itself.
In the big leagues, it feels like 2 or 3 years ago there was 20 of them, and there seem to be more fermented now, less of them, and more high level as well with big sponsorship.
Yeah, I think we're just settling down with the better things right now. Like there was a lot of leagues, yes, and some of them just haven't managed to get enough audience or sponsors or things like this, because every single of them is having different approach to the topic. And I think we still lack a lot of showing pilots and pilots' personality per se, because we're just mostly showing like, hey, this is a pilot from Germany and he's good. And what is he doing with his life? What are the other things? Like, how can I compare myself to this person and look up to this person if I don't know anything about them? It's just a lot of people with goggles on their heads. Okay, cool.
Yeah. What would you do? How would you change that in the shows?
Well, I would just talk more with the pilots, or let them talk about what they are doing with their lives, like how they're walking, or what they like doing, what they are the hobbies, or that they can just say and show their own personality. Because this is something that I think most of the sports do. Like, you have a lot of magazines and interviews with sportsmen that they are just talking about stuff. And here in our sport, we just don't. And if you don't know the person personally, you haven't seen them on the event or something like this, you cannot really know anything about them. So it's kind of like, kind of gray zone, I think.
That's good what we're doing now. We're getting to know you a little bit more, Lexie.
Yeah.
When you're doing your content, you must get a lot of response, a lot of comments. Tell me about some of the inspirational contents or creators that you've influenced, you think? People who got in touch with you and have started racing because of your content.
Oh God, there were a couple of people, but I mostly like the girls group that we have. We have a girls group on Discord, and there's a lot of girls who said that they actually started because they saw my video. But there's also one German pilot, Mona. She actually told us last week on the event that she was looking at the FPV drones and she was thinking, damn it, where are the girls? Where are the girls? I want to be one of them. Where are the girls? And she couldn't find any. And then she found me along with Heiko, I think. And she said that she was so excited and started looking things about me and so on. And she was like, yes, I can do it. It's possible. Okay, let's go.
Have you been involved in coaching anybody one-to-one how to fly? Is that something you would be interested in?
I would be interested in it. I'm sometimes helping people just via chat or something like this, because it's really hard not to really see what the person is doing. You can give some tips and tricks and so on, but it's really hard if you don't see a person. And yeah, it's kind of also a gray zone, because I'm trying my best, but it's just hard.
What about the simulator stuff? How do you find that?
I have mixed feelings about simulators, because you don't have wind, you don't have like loose props or loose screws that also impact the drone and how it flies. It's actually just the drone is always ideal, and it never happens in real life. Like, for example, once I was having really big vibrations and I didn't know why, and turned out that I was having just 2 loose screws that I couldn't see that they are loose even, and I had to just check it. So it's taking away some of the whole thing. So if you forget about it on the real race, then it's a problem. But when it goes to simulators, I think they're also cool when it's really cold outside or too hot outside, like now, or it's raining and stuff like this. Then I'm doing it, but I prefer doing it in real life.
Right, and the actual hands-on technology of building the things, did you just pick that up yourself, or did you get advice?
When I started, there were a couple of forums, and I was asking people like, hey, how do you know that this is good? And I was learning a lot, but it's a lot of research, I think. I don't know how it is when you join now.
Right.
Yeah, but I knew how to solder because my dad taught me. Thank you, Dad. But this is like basic that you need to know, soldering will be with you throughout the entire hobby. And just remembering which cable and which color of the cable is important and where should it go. But there's a lot of videos right now that are just teaching you how to do such things. So I think it's easier right now, but still learning how to solder is something that a lot of people need to learn, because that doesn't seem to be a common knowledge.
And what are you doing when you're not flying drones, when you're not working and flying drones? Tell me a bit about your life outside.
Oh God, no, privacy, no. I'm doing bouldering.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. But always hurts. We actually had bouldering 2 days ago, and we're kind of hurting right now. Hurts a lot. We're also working out just to keep our bodies in shape, kind of. I'm playing games a lot because, not enough screens in front of my eyes. I need more. And I read a lot of books, mostly fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of my jam. I'm a nerd.
Who else are you? Who do you admire in the world of drone racing? Who do you look up to?
Oh God, that's a hard one. That's bad, because if someone watches now, they will know that I said that.
It's a good point. And anybody
You're
that
right.
you don't mention will think,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, why didn't you mention me?
Yeah, exactly.
We won't do that. Tell me about when you started. Who were the people that you saw when you first started that you thought, yeah, I want to be like them?
I think I was mostly looking for girls,
Yes.
because when I started, there was just me and Zoe, I think. And I think I was looking up to Zoe, and I was thinking, like, I want to be like Zoe. And I just fixated myself on this point. And somewhere after this, I just decided that I want to be myself, kind of. I don't want to be like anyone else. I don't want to be like another person, because everyone is different. And that's what's beautiful in all of us. And I just decided that I'm going to be doing my thing. And I think that's good. I just admire all of my friends and all of the people that I know and I meet. And they all have different stories. They're all amazing, really. And I'm just looking up to stories rather than people.
It's a great sport. It's very inclusive. We've got people from all over the world, different backgrounds, people in wheelchairs, people with many different situations in their life who are competing. It really brings people together. I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. And it's really amazing, because wherever you go in the world, you can be like, hey, I'm going to Hong Kong. And actually, I was picked up from Hong Kong airport by some friends, and they took me to the best flying spots. And I was like, okay, that's great. We went for dinner and everything. So you basically have a trip done, because people just want to meet up and take you and show you awesome places, which is also really cool. So wherever you go, you have friends there.
And you're flying again now, you're competing in Germany. Things are opening up after the pandemic for you?
Slowly, really slowly. We still, we cannot have spotters right now because there's too many people then, and we need to be 2 meters away from each other. We need to wear masks indoors, but mostly those events are outdoors, so that's okay. And now in Germany, we can meet in small groups. So those small groups stay with each other most of the events. So it's not like it used to be that everyone was just hanging out and having fun. But people are just a little bit more distanced to each other, which is kind of sad. But we still have fun, but far away from each other. Like, hi.
Yeah. It's great that you can compete again, isn't it?
Yes. Oh my God, 6 months without any race.
Yeah.
Like, that was a change for me, because last year I used to have a race every week somewhere else, every weekend somewhere else, and all of a sudden I'm for 6 months at home and I just don't know what to do with myself.
In your real life, you're a programmer. Is that your actual?
Yes, that's one of my jobs. Yeah.
One of your jobs. So tell me about your actual work life. How you
work life. Well, I was lucky, because when the pandemic started, I actually had a remote job already. So nothing changed in this situation for me. I was still just sitting in front of my computer and looking at the world burning, kind of. So we actually don't have many more things to do during the pandemic, but haven't really changed for me in this matter. We started doing some other things just to keep up with the needs of pandemic, like for small businesses. We started doing little websites and so on. and that actually kicked up. So we've been doing more of creation stuff rather than programs per se, but more kind of web development and stuff. So it's not much more work, really. When it goes to other work, I'm also a social media marketing manager for Apex Drone Racing. So I'm doing their social media. This actually kicked up because people are at home. So they are just sitting on their phones on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and so on and so on. So that's a lot of work. But yeah, that's kind of everyday life. I'm just sitting in front of computers and making them be people.
How do you manage your time? Because you've got a lot going on. Are you still creating 2 YouTube videos a week? Are you still doing that as well? So how do you manage your time? Do you have a schedule of each day and when you're doing things, or do you just try and attack it and get through it?
Yeah, I actually have lists. Like, oh, that would be like so technical, but I have a manual notebook. So yeah, I have manual notebooks. I just make to-do lists of the things that I need. And actually my programming job is just part-time, kind of. So I don't have to sit 8 hours in front of my computer. And also my boss is just believing that if my job is done, then it's done. So that's actually helping me. I can just focus for like 2 or 3 hours and just be done with the project. And that's basically how I'm trying to do it. I'm also using my free time just to do the social media stuff. I'm doing a lot of scheduling, so I'm using my free time to schedule a lot of stuff to have it automatically posted if I forget about it. But I'm usually just working since 7 a.m. up until like 3, and at 3 p.m. we're going for a training. We're coming back around 7, 8, 9, and then sleepy.
Yeah. How did you get involved with Apex Drone Racing? What was the story behind that?
Actually, I was on the race in Netherlands, and there was one of the Apex pilots, and the CEO of Apex actually got to know that I was there, and he asked this pilot like, hey, can you ask Lexie if she would be able to like talk with me on the phone and everything? And I just looked at Thomas and I said, you know what, make a video. And I just showed on the video like, call me, ask me, I'm there. And he really liked it. And we started talking about the future of FPV drone racing. We were having plans of making a lot of content and videos for DCL. And then pandemic started.
Yes.
So DCL got cancelled, the kind of real one. So now we're in esports and we're trying to do something with this. We started Twitch for Apex just to do like weekly live streams on which we are catching up with DCL, talking about how to start with drone racing and all the other things. So I think that's something cool for the community. And basically that's how it started, and it's still going. We're still having plans to make really awesome content from DCL and really show the characters of our pilots and everything that I want to show in drone racing. But that's just postponed for next year, if next year DCL happens.
Right.
If.
Nothing guaranteed.
Crossed. Hope so.
Yeah.
It was a really good plan.
How was it going to be? What was the plan?
We were supposed to visit, I think, 5 places. We're going to Moscow, China, Liechtenstein, I think, UK, and I don't remember the last place. And we were just supposed to make videos from like the whole travel, the whole preparation, the whole event itself, and just make like day-by-day vlog of how it really is to be a drone racing pilot and how it all looks like behind the scenes. Because what you see is a ready product and it's kind of without soul, if I can call it like that. So we wanted to add the soul to the whole thing, and it was a nice project. It was supposed to be like 10-minute vlogs from every day, max 10 minutes, and we're still gonna do it.
That sounds amazing. That sounds like really good content. That's going to take a lot of time. Is it once a month you will be doing that, or once every 2 months?
Well, whenever the DCL will happen, we will just try to have like a 1-week break for creating videos after the DCL. And after this 1 week, we would be just posting 1 video per week or 2 videos per week or something like this on our Apex Twitch or YouTube. And that was basically the plan, and to give also our pilots all the content so they can make videos for themselves as well. So then we would have like a pile of content on which every single video would be different, even though it's from the same event.
It's a sport leading the way. It's an air sport which is really leading the way when it comes to content and social media. There's a big range of people in air sports, some that are at one end just flying and doing nothing else, and then at the other end, flying, they're creating, they're making the content. You're kind of leading the way with that, I think, in drone racing.
Trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had really nice deals. It's really interesting because for cinematography and so on, we can make shots that no one else can do. You cannot do them with normal drones, you cannot do them with normal cameras, or even cameras with stick, like the selfie sticks with 360 cameras. For example, I took a sine whoop and I was flying in the mountains through the car's roof and getting out on the trunk. You cannot do it with a normal camera. Yeah. And this is something that you can do with those. And my client was really like,
What camera were you flying on there to get the footage?
GoPro 7, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the footage which is coming out now is absolutely amazing. Of course, for racing, you've got the latency issue. Are you in HD yet with your FPV or?
No, not really. I think I'm waiting for HD to be a little bit better. I think HD is cool for freestyle because then the latency doesn't hurt you that much. But for racing, it's still too much, especially when you are a fast pilot.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that the image you get is not the high definition 4K picture on the screen. It's
really analog, a lot of bad things. Like my mom was telling me when I was small, don't sit in front of the TV, it will destroy your eyes. So now I have goggles in front of my eyes. Great. My mom has to be so proud now.
So just to finish off, tell me what you've got coming up for the next few weeks or months, Lexie.
Next week we actually have the race in Italy, so I'm really, really excited. That will be the first kind of international race since the virus happened. Next week after this we have Netherlands, and then we're back for a couple of races in Germany. We actually signed in for every single race in Germany that was possible. I think it's like 6 more to go, so I'm really excited about this, and whatever pops up, I'm totally gonna be on board for that.
Excellent. And just tell us your channels that people can see all your content on.
Oh yeah, you can follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and it's called My On High, MAI on High.
My On High. Well, thanks very much, Lexie. It's been an absolute pleasure to catch up with you again. I hope you have a fantastic day, and thanks for joining us on Air Sports News.
Thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.